hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning, Mum.
I can't believe it. We've actually managed to get on. The stress levels go whoosh when I try and get on.
No.
Look at a nice jumper.
How are you doing, Mama?
Do I look like I'm looking at you? I look like I'm looking over there.
You look like you're looking over there, yeah. Oh well. Can't be perfect.
Did I turn it the other way around?
No. As she was better.
As I was.
Yeah. So how are you doing today, Mum?
What's the light out on here?
No, it's fine.
Go
on. So the reason we're having this chat via Zoom, obviously we can't be together because I'm in London and you're in Manchester and we are in the world of coronavirus. So we are Zooming, and this is our first one of these. So first I just wanted to talk a bit about the documentary that we have put online this week and launched our website. Mm-hmm. So we've had about 6,000 views as of this morning. So how is that for you, Mum?
Well, that's amazing, really, Georgia. I mean, it was very, very disappointing that we didn't get it onto television, but I'm really, really pleased that people, 6,000 views in a few days is just fantastic. It's just unbelievable. And the feedback my cancer friends have said to me and other friends, it's a way of explaining to people exactly, or their family, exactly what they're doing, because it's hard to explain what we're trying to do. If we keep on saying, well, I'm taking loads of supplements and drugs, people just don't get it and they don't know why you're doing something out of the box, really. But I think it explains it very well. So hats off to you, Saffron and Freddie. You did an amazing job. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, obviously important to say that this was made with two other people, Saffron, who was the producer, and Freddie, that was the director. And what's really interesting is that we actually made it over a year ago, about 15, 16 months ago now, when I was studying journalism. And yeah, I just wanted to ask as well, I mean, kind of what's happened to you in those kind of year and a half, because even when we filmed it, you were already like defying the odds. It was about a year and a half since diagnosis at that point, and we'd been through hell and back, and then we were right on the repurposed drugs track, but it was quite new. You're only about 6 months into it, whereas now you're coming up to 2 years doing it. So I just wanted to ask kind of what has happened to you since then, Mum?
Well, with regards to my prognosis remains the same, but with regard
to that,
well, I'm still stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, which is incurable, and as you know, Georgia, I was expected to die, but I do feel amazing. My life really has gone back to pretty much normal health-wise. The lifestyle changes I've made. I've learned to be my own doctor, I think. I felt empowered as I learned more about the metabolic approach to cancer and took charge of it myself.
So what kind of thing have you added in? Then you were doing the 4 drugs from the oncology clinic, you were doing diet, but I think maybe diet has progressed, hasn't it? And you've added other things.
Yeah, my diet's really progressed. I'm more or less vegan. I mean, I'll have an egg in a cake and I'll probably have turkey for my Christmas dinner. But outside that, I'm pretty much vegan. Through what I've learned and listening to other people, listening to doctors really, I try to listen to professional people and the research that they've come across. There's a great breast cancer doctor in America called Christy Funk, and I really like what she had to say, because I'm not qualified to talk about anything but myself, because I've got no medical qualifications. I'm a shop assistant with no special qualifications, so I don't
qualifications in life.
I've got qualifications in your life.
So qualifications in socialising, I'd say, Mum.
Qualifications in socialising, not listening to the nasty inner voice in my head. When I get people, when it pops up and I don't start to doubt myself. Don't beat yourself.
Is there a time that you've doubted doing all of this at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Am I doing enough? Have I added enough in? Don't doubt the decisions I make, because sometimes I do make decisions because I've decided to take certain drugs or supplements. Obviously I get the ones from Care Oncology, but I have added in something called dipridamol, which I do get on a private prescription. But again, I sort of made the decision about that.
And you took a while doing it, didn't you, Mum? It wasn't all overnight.
No, and things like melatonin, which I'm sort of starting to add in now. Now, melatonin you can buy over the counter in the United States quite freely. In fact, I think it's one of the most popular supplements. But in this country, you can't even get it. And I would say about a small dose of melatonin is what I take. And from the research, there's been quite a lot of research on it. Enough for me to try it, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's quite big. Prayer and meditation, yeah, I think it's so important. I think people really miss a trick here, that you do have to avoid stress. You need to, sleep is really important. I completely missed that off, even as I recover from sort of my initial sort of dying time, if you like. I always felt I had to get up at a certain time.
Yeah, I've had to make you stay in bed.
Yeah,
you could have never done.
No, because I've been brought up as I brought you up to get out of bed and get going. Life's not for staying in bed, and so that's been a real change. Not to feel guilty if I sleep, and go back to bed and sleep in the morning. If I've woken up early, just catch up. So I think sleep is usually important, because your body heals while you're sleeping. And I think that's a real big trick people miss. And hydration, it's such a simple one. It's so easy to do. I always drink filtered water. I probably don't drink a great deal. I drink outside that, I do drink green tea. But hydration.
You've got a few funny drinks, Mum. What is your drinks range? Because you do have some funny ones.
I don't really have much, really. I'd like to say it was red wine, but I only do that if I go on holiday.
Like all your teas and...
Oh, yeah. Well, green tea, and also I do green tea and tulsi, a lot of green tea, really. Sometimes I do the matcha green tea, which is the dark green powder, and I kind of make that into a bit of a latte with some oat milk or almond milk, and that's really nice. So, sparkling water if I go out, go mad. Become a very expensive date then, having sparkling water. But apart from that, really, I do drink decaffeinated coffee. And I make myself a sprouting broccoli smoothie, which I'm not really sure whether I like it. But there's a lot of sulforaphane in sprouting broccoli, which I grow myself. So most days recently I've been making this little smoothie, and I don't particularly like it, so I just have a little bit of milk in it and put my sprouting broccoli in, because the sprouting broccoli contains something called sulforaphane, which is like 100 times more potent than just eating broccoli. So I grow that in the cupboard. And
what's the good thing about sulforaphane then?
Well, the thing is, again, I would sort of direct you to listen to Dr. Rona, and I can't remember her surname, but we can look that up later. I think you perhaps have a link to it. And she makes this sprouting broccoli, and it's the active compound in broccoli is called sulforaphane, and it's really, really good for you. And by the sprouting broccoli, it has 100 times more sulforaphane in it than broccoli does. So it's a bit of a faff to make, but it's quite simple to do. And I've got jam jars in the cupboard. And as long as you remember to drain the water off every day, they're fine. But she does a really good demonstration on YouTube on how to grow it and everything. So, yeah, and the benefits of it. So I kind of add in even more weirdo stuff, Georgia.
You like your weirdo stuff. Well, I've also become a bit of a weirdo as well. I've properly gone vegan in the last month, which has been, I think for both of us, it's been bit of a transition really, because we were meat eating, dairy eating, a chocolate loving family. I mean, I still love chocolate, but now I have dark chocolate. And we've kind of, I mean, off the back of you, I've learned a lot about my diet and, you know, what actually I can eat and what I'm actually not intolerant to, because I was never good with dairy and I'd have it anyway. So it's kind of changed me as well, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, David Attenborough's documentary we watched the other day. Do you remember? And what the heck? And he says in there that
no, not that one. That was a life on our planet.
That's right. Yeah, not that one. This was another one. But David Attenborough said that it's unsustainable to carry on to being a meat-eating planet, eating meat at the rate we do, and we need to become more plant-based. So I just have a vision of us all becoming more plant-based. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat meat, but you know, it should be properly farm meat, and the farmers should just start growing crops instead of producing all these poor animals that we kill, you know, because I don't know. But I don't think there's anything wrong with eating meat. I think people just need to eat it more moderately, and it would just be a shift in the industry, wouldn't it? But it would be so much better, as David Attenborough says, for the planet. You know, it's unsustainable what we're doing. We're all worried about our children, our grandchildren.
I guess in more of a cancer sense, you know, we've also seen documentaries and research and studies about how much better it is for you to not eat meat. And I know that's very controversial, and it's not something we would have believed at the start, but eventually, you know, we've come around to it, and it does seem to help. Because just if you could just say kind of what, in terms of like obviously your prognosis is the same, but you know, in terms of, have you had progression in the last year? Have you had any illness or been in hospital or kind of?
No, I've had no illness. I haven't been in hospital. Really, since I changed everything, I've stayed extremely well. Yeah, sort of. I feel quite amazing, really. I walk every day, twice a day, really. So after I've had my lunch, my alarm goes off on my phone. And 20 minutes after I've finished eating, and I put on my trainers and I'm out the door. In most weathers, sometimes I dance around the kitchen. I'm
definitely going to put some of these dancing videos on our website.
Oh, you're not. You are kidding.
High School Musical and The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, well, that's when I can't get out usually. But yeah, so.
What's your latest?
Why I do that is because I want my food to go to feed my muscles, not feeding my cancer. So I want my muscles to take up the food. I mean, it's really sort of like, in a simple way I'm saying it, but that's sort of the idea behind exercising after I've eaten. So twice a day, because I usually eat twice a day, sort of a late lunch, sort of breakfast and tea time. And then, just like Nan used to do in the olden days, close the kitchen at 6 o'clock. Yeah, so sometimes I cheat. I'm not always dead good, but I really try and do that.
You are good. And obviously as well, you're not an exercise person, really. You know,
no, I'm not.
You're not gonna go to the gym or whatever, even though I did try and convince you. But you've kind of found other ways to do things, haven't you? Because you've been doing your dancing, and you've also been doing arm workouts on YouTube, haven't you?
I have, yeah. So my arms are getting much better now, and they're flabby. So yes, exercise was something I'd sort of neglected in my life, and that plays a huge part in keeping me well. And also because I've got tumours in my liver, we call mets in my liver. I feel like everything goes through my body a lot better when I exercise. You know, it keeps everything moving. But I do all kinds of weird things. I eat like a bit of kimchi, a bit of sauerkraut.
I like kimchi.
And I've got to like it a lot better. yeah, it's a bit of an acquired taste, really. But I do that because it's good for my gut health, and I pay a lot of attention to my gut health. I mean, that's a huge subject, but yeah, you've got to get your gut health right.
So what do
If
you
you're
do for
a
gut
patient.
health?
Well, the big words like all these microbiome, your stomach really, all the oh Georgia, help me with this.
It's just
The
a fact.
bacteria.
Yeah, you have probiotics and you have
Yes,
probiotics and prebiotics. So
prebiotic. Yes, I'm not particularly loyal to any brand. I do change around a bit, but yes, I do pay a lot of attention to my gut health, and also a big diversity of food. So from cabbage, broccoli, all kinds of fruit, sort of vegetables I like to eat because that increases the different kinds of bacteria, if you like, that live in your stomach. I only have one portion of fruit a day though, and that is usually blueberries or a green Granny Smith apple.
yeah, we've read
Blueberries
studies,
actually,
haven't we, about blueberries, about literally having one
yeah,
a day drops your cancer risk by a third.
yeah,
But obviously,
absolutely.
we're a bit
But
past that, but
yeah, but why not? Yeah, and also I think the polyphenols in the blueberries are very good for you. So I have that every day. Sometimes I add in a Granny Smith apple, but I probably would eat a banana if it was in a banana loaf, if I've made a banana loaf or something like that. But outside that, I wouldn't touch any, fruit like that, really, generally speaking. Uh,
just in terms of, obviously, we've launched a website this week.
mm-hmm.
It's designed to be like a bit of a resource, really, somewhere for you, because you spend so many hours every day looking at research, podcasts, videos about starving cancer, and I thought it would be a good place for you to have to kind of put it all and make a record, and also to host our documentary that we want as many people to see as possible, and also to just kind of track what we're doing. And I just wanted to ask you what you kind of hoped we might get out of the website one day, what your kind of aim is for it.
Really, the same as you, really, to start conversations, because I do believe that everybody has the right to try these repurposed drugs and even know about these repurposed drugs and supplements. Because if you think about it, nobody, and I don't want to get political about this, is going to, supposing that a compound, say curcumin, for example, nobody really is going to put money behind that because they can't, I'm talking about drug companies, they can't extract the compound from curcumin, bottle it up and sell it as, an anti-cancer drug. So it's never going to be a natural product that is a cure for cancer, which I found, or something extracted from a natural product, because it's all got to be like chemical. Now, this is the way I understand it. I could be wrong because I'm not particularly smart, but I'm really not. So it's never going to be a natural product, and I find that quite amazing, really.
To do with
Things get
isn't it?
aside, like berberine, curcumin. Lots of things get pushed to one side. Milk thistle that could be of benefit to people. So I found that strange, but I also understand the chemical industry as a business at the end of the day, and what incentive have they got? And it would just be nice, really, if the governments funded their own research rather than relying all the time on the big pharmaceutical companies. I know there are some studies done by some universities which are independent, but yeah.
I think what we've noticed is doing all of this is that it's not necessarily there's any big conspiracy going on. It's that the way things are designed in terms of how something becomes a drug on the NHS and becomes a standard cancer treatment is that it goes through obviously a huge clinical trial, and that's designed out of a purpose of safety. You know, this kind of structure was made for safety. And in terms of something like coronavirus, you wouldn't want something that hasn't been properly tested. But I think the difference is that, firstly, what you're doing is alongside the NHS care anyway. So it's additional. It's already exists for repurposed drugs. They are, you know, diabetes drugs, anti-malarials. They are already there. So there isn't really a profit to be made in like funding a trial for cancer in them. And then with what you were talking about, curcumin, they're all natural supplements, so you can't patent those. So really, I think we've seen a bit of there's a big gap between these things that you're doing and adding it all in together at once, and kind of not being particularly fussed which thing it might be that, you know, cures you one day. You just want to do it all because it helps and it's not harming you. Whereas that's very different to the current model we have. But I guess in one sense, at least as long as you can do it yourself, you know, at least you can still do it, and it's, you know, it's, you're not breaking any rules, you're allowed to do it. At least we've got that.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I'm usually grateful to the National Health Service, you know, for what they have done for me, but I know it's not enough. I know the drug that I'm on is very good, and I think it's probably the best available on the market for me, but they've told me, you know, it will probably, after 2 years, to expect to get progression.
And you passed,
so I've done,
aren't you?
well,
2.5 years.
2 years in April, yeah. So that's why I'm trying to do everything I can to make the drugs that I'm taking work, because I think synergy is the key. It's to do it all in combination. You know, I've got to keep myself healthy, hydrated, extremely well fed with plant-based food, in my opinion, having listened to a lot of doctors talking. And so there's a lot of emphasis on me. It's easy just to go into my hospital, stick your arm out and have you know, a drip put into you. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is required of the patient. But to do what I do, there's a lot required. And not everybody wants to do it or buy into it. Some people would just rather go along with the norm. So I'm not saying it's easy what I do, but it's my choice. And I've got a hope, I've got a future. You know, God willing, I'm going to be around for a long time. And, you know, I don't think about anything but enjoying my life and enjoying my day. So it's been not a journey I'd recommend, but I'll be on it probably for the rest of my life. But it's been an eye-opener and a bit of a revelation and an appreciation as well of life. Yeah,
definitely.
I'm hugely grateful. I'm grateful every single day I wake up. And at one time, I used to wake up and think, oh, black, dark clouds looming ahead, and I haven't got the strength to get out of bed, and I don't want to get out of bed. And it took me an hour to dress myself. But today, I just wake up and it's just pink, fluffy clouds everywhere, and I just think, oh, thank God. I just love every day, appreciate every minute, even when your dad gets on the nerves. And just you see life. Oh, that's my alarm. Switch that on. You see, it is, you see life from a different point of view, really, and gratitude. And I think it's important to be grateful. I mean, as you know, I do like occasionally to write a letter to people to express gratitude, and that's part of my healing as well. You know, because it's mind, spirit, body, the whole thing. But I get very upset when cancer patients are sort of told that it's okay to eat cream cake, sugar, dairy, meat, it's all fine. And I do get so annoyed. And even in a group of people that don't think along, you know, fellow cancer patients, if I say, you know, about me, what, you know, the I'm sort of pretty much plant-based, dairy-free, Oh no, cancer doesn't make any difference. My doctor says it doesn't, and they'll have a right round with me, so I just don't say anything anymore. You know, not everybody wants to listen, and you know, I get that. Not everybody wants to talk about cancer, particularly if you haven't got cancer, and I get that as well. You know, but yeah.
Good. Well, yeah. So obviously, we've kind of got our website now, and we're going to keep uploading things. We're going to keep doing some more interviews with other people. I've got some long interviews from the documentary that I'm going to edit into full interviews and put them on the YouTube channel. But just as a final thing, Mum, if you've got, for example, if someone's watching this and they know someone with cancer or they've just been diagnosed, we've got a page on our website which is like basically where to start, and that's kind of the really simple videos and resources that we use that kind of started us off on this, and that we kind of recommend to start to get your head around it. But what would you say to someone who's kind of at the start of that unenjoyable journey, Mum?
Buy Jane McLennan's book and start. That was the start of my journey. Chris Walker, I'm a huge fan of his in America as well. But Jane's book really just was a game changer for me, definitely, because it just made me start to look at things in a different way. And yeah, I hope one day she gets the recognition she deserves. And I think because she's not oncologist Jane McLennan, people tend to sort of like pass her by, but actually in my mind she's genius, Jane McLennan. And you know, I love her dearly. I think she's amazing.
And Jane is
her followers now are over 30,000. Yeah. You know, so wow.
I mean, you're one patient of many now that is doing this, and I think it's the reason I think it's important that we try and do something from the patient side is obviously there's lots of experts, researchers kind of weighing in on their opinion, but you're actually going through this. You know, this has been the last kind of almost 3 years of our life, and I think something to add.
Go on. Sorry.
What are you saying? You're going to laugh.
I'm actually a non-expert.
I know. You're an everyday Joe. Just
yeah, I am. Yeah. What is it? A Joe Doe? No.
Jane
what
Doe.
Is it? You know, a person. A Jane Doe. I'm a Jane
Doe. You're much more than that.
Cool. Sorry, Georgia.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I had to say, really. So yeah, look out for our next video.
I'll try and make it better than this.